Hello, and thank you for joining us for this Midwest New Mexico CAP Head Start and Early Head Start Education Training Series video. This video covers school readiness goals. The learning objective for this video is to be able to describe what the Office of Head Start means by the term school readiness. By the end of this video, we should understand what school readiness goals are and know where to find the annual school readiness goals. We should also understand how to read and interpret the goals for implementation. All of the resources that we discussed today are available to you. School readiness resources are available through the ECLIC website by searching for school readiness and through the Head Start Resources app. The Midwest New Mexico Head Start and Early Head Start school readiness goals are located in the Education, Procedures and Forms folder in the Drive and on the agency website through the Education Forms tab. For more information about where to find those resources or how to access them, don't forget to watch the video, Locating Resources, that's in the training series. So let's get started. What exactly is school readiness? In order to understand school readiness, let's take a look at the mission statements from Office of Head Start, ECLIC, and our own agency. The Office of Head Start mission statement is, Head Start promotes the school readiness of young children from low-income families by enhancing their cognitive, social, and emotional development. The mission statement from ECLIC is, getting young children and their families ready for school and ready for life. And similarly, the mission statement for Midwest New Mexico CAP Head Start and Early Head Start is, through our work and partnership with families and the community, we empower every child and every family we serve to be ready for life and school. As you can see, in each of those mission statements, the concept of school readiness is central. Office of Head Start says that there are really 3 parts to school readiness. School readiness means that children are ready for school, families are ready to support their children's learning, and schools are ready for children. Let's take a minute to break down each of those parts. Number 1, children are ready for schools. So when we say children are ready for school, we mean that as teachers and as an education team, that we're providing children that we serve with these rich learning experiences that are helping to prepare them for kindergarten and even beyond that. We've really identified that the skills that kids need to succeed are social emotional skills, language and literacy skills, cognitive skills, motor and physical development, the ability to attend and persist, and really teaching kids to enjoy to learn. If that sounds familiar, it should. Those are taken directly from the ELOF, or the Early Learning Outcomes Framework. The second idea behind school readiness is that families are ready to support their children's learning. As an agency, we help to support families by providing families with opportunities to be involved with their children's education and to have opportunities to advocate for their child. We provide this through training opportunities that help families to understand the skills and developmental levels of their children and the skills that are needed for kindergarten and beyond. We help to provide families with opportunities to be involved in their children's learning and in the community. We help families with community resources and events so that they can be involved in their community and help to advocate for their child. We empower families with information and resources so that they are able to better advocate for their children whenever their children start school. And finally, we help to support healthy families so that families are ready to start school through our nutrition and health services. The third idea behind school readiness is that schools are ready for children. As an agency, we help schools to be ready for children First, by partnering with them so that we can have seamless kindergarten transitions with schools. We also help to provide child development data to our local education agency. And we like to partner with schools for professional development opportunities so that we're learning the same ideas as teachers and we all have the same goals. Aligned with this idea of school readiness are the Midwest New Mexico CAP Head Start and Early Head Start school readiness goals. So we have some specific goals, and these goals are developed annually. So they're developed every year based on a review of our education data. So we take a look every year at our child development data and we make school readiness goals. These goals can be found in your education procedures and forms folder. There are some parts to our school readiness goals. The first part of school readiness goals is an explanation of how our school readiness goals are made. The second part is an explanation of our power goals, and power goals are big, broad goals that help teachers to plan. The next section are school readiness goals and how those goals are aligned to both the ELOF and our New Mexico Early Learning Guidelines. Finally, we include our family engagement goals in our school readiness. Let's take a look at a video about school readiness. This video will review school readiness as a plan. We have a school readiness plan for our agency. There's really 4 parts to that plan. The program goal, and this is a broad goal for our entire agency. Power goals, and these are big picture goals that teachers use to help align what they're doing to school readiness. Then we have our specific school readiness goals. Those goals are focused on specific learning domains. And we have our family engagement goals to help prepare families and guide them as they prepare their children for kindergarten. The program goal, power goals, and school readiness and family engagement goals are all part of one system. As you can see here, the program goal is the broadest. And then as we become more narrow and more focused, we have our power goals. And the most focused are our school readiness and family engagement goals. For our agency, the program goal is that all children will make progress across all teaching strategies goal areas of development and learning with at least 80% at or above widely held expectations. We have 4 power goals. Our power goals, again, they help teachers to kind of align our learning, and there are big ideas. So our power goals are that as a community, as a head start with our children, we're learning to love to learn. We're becoming mathematical thinkers. We're learning to be good friends. And we're becoming readers and writers. Then we have our 9 school readiness goals, and these are our most focused. These goals are aligned directly to the domains of the Early Learning Outcomes Framework. In those 9 school readiness goals, we have 1 goal for approaches to learning, 2 for social and emotional development, 2 for language and literacy, 3 for cognition, and 1 for perceptual, motor, and physical development. And finally, we have 2 family engagement school readiness goals. One of those is to get and encourage families to be engaged in the program, and 1 is to support families in home engagement. So let's take a closer look at how those school readiness goals are developed in this video. How are school readiness goals made? What information is used to determine what our school readiness goals will be? And who writes school readiness goals anyway? Let's take a closer look at school readiness goals and how they are developed. The The Office of Head Start gives a lot of guidance about the implementation of school readiness goals. But one thing is clear, we must have them. They list 3 steps during the implementation process: assess, plan, and act. Let's talk about step 1, assess. This should look pretty familiar. It's a TSG checkpoint. The data that you input during checkpoints is used for a lot of things. One of those is to develop school readiness goals. Let's take a closer look at how your checkpoint data is used for school readiness. Here is a data table from TSG showing where children in our agency score in the domain of social emotional and under the objective 1A, manages feelings. For school readiness data, we're going to focus on data for 4-year-olds. 4-year-old data is listed on the 4th row and in the blue color band. Now, ideally, we would like to see all of our children scoring in the blue color band or above. If you remember from training, the color bands show where we would expect to see children according to national norms. So this data shows that 29.72% of our children performed below where we would like them to be. Let's look at another objective in the social emotional domain. This time, we'll look at the objective, solve social problems. Again, we'll be looking at 4-year-old data, numbers in the blue band. This time, our data shows that 44.29% of children perform below where we would like them to be. One more, but this time let's look at literacy. Here's a table from our checkpoint data in the literacy domain. This one is from the objective Notices and Discriminates Rhyme. This table shows that 55.72% of our children are scoring below where we would like them to score in literacy. So, what now? Once we have reviewed all of the TSG data and figured out which areas we are lowest in, we go on to step 2, planning. Here's where we really start to think. How does the data from TSG align to the standards in the ELAF? The ELAF, the Early Learning Outcomes Framework. Remember that the ELAF are the developmental standards for birth through age 5 in each of the domains: approaches to learning, social emotional development, literacy and language, cognition, perceptual motor, and physical development. For each of the areas of concern, the leadership team determines what ELAF goal the TSG objective aligns to. So let's go back to our table from TSG for literacy. Notices and Discriminates Rhyme. This objective aligns to the ELAF goal, P, LIT1, P for preschool, LIT for literacy, 1 for goal 1. The child demonstrates an awareness that spoken language is composed of smaller segments of sound. The ELAF gives us 60-month indicators. These are used to write the school readiness goal for that area of concern. But now what? We know what areas we need to work on, and we have aligned those with the ELAF. It's time for step 3, act. All that data is typed up into a form with the school readiness goal and the alignments. That information is presented to the leadership team. I'm just kidding. They don't look like that. That would be scary. Let's try this. The leadership team hopefully approves it, and that's it. Except one thing, the most important thing. You. School readiness goals are just words on paper. The only thing that matters is what magic you do with them in your classrooms. So what will you do with this year's school readiness goals? So how do we use those school readiness goals? Well, school readiness goals are used throughout our program planning. Some examples of this are in family and community engagement. School readiness goals are used to determine family engagement events and training opportunities. They're used during community engagement to help find volunteers and to organize our community events. The education team uses the school readiness goals throughout all of our learning experiences. Teachers use these school readiness goals to help plan learning experiences. They're also used during our curriculum alignment and figuring out what curriculum events are going to be planned. And finally, school readiness goals are used to help organize and plan authentic professional development experiences. The big ideas that we should take away from this training are that school readiness really means that children are ready for schools, families are ready to support their children's learning, and schools are ready for children. We have 4 goals in our school readiness plan: the program goal, the power goals, school readiness goals, and family engagement goals. Our school readiness goals are developed annually or yearly based on a review of our child development data. And finally, that school readiness goals are used to plan learning experiences for children, for families, and for staff. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about school readiness goals. Don't forget to complete the knowledge check. The link to the knowledge check is located at the bottom of the description box below this video.